Good afternoon, Pokesports. It's your host, Mike, and I play with two Pokemon on the field. Today, my friends, I am bringing you this team by the ERV04 on Twitter, at the ERV04 on Twitter. I'll link their Twitter down in the description. This has been showcased by so many people, including Cybertron, including VGC Pastes. So this is clearly a very highly performing team. Now, one thing about the battles that we're about to see is this is not actually me playing this in real time. Okay, this is me playing this at the time. However, the very, very unfortunate thing happened where I looked at the file afterward and my audio was muted on my mic side. So I didn't see until everything was done that my stuff was muted the whole time. Anyway, what I'm going to do still, because these are great battles, is I'm going to be commentating them as I do them, or as I have played them. I'm going to be commentating them. They're just my battles. Anyway, let's take this team into the battle arena. Let's see if we can pull out some wins with this amazing team. All right, whatever. Let's go. Okay, so game one is against Ash with Hatterene, Indeedee, Torkoal, Armarouge, Mousehold, and Garchomp. And what I'm thinking in this kind of a situation is this is clearly a Trick Room team, right? You can have Mousehold, you can have Garchomp with the off chance that, you know, your opponent has a lot of counter Trick Room or has Trick Room of their own that you might want to shut down or something like that. However, I am betting so wholeheartedly on the fact that we're going to be going with a Trick Room team, going against a Trick Room team. So that includes Indeedee, that includes Hatterene, that includes the Armarouge and the Torkoal, kind of in that order. Either it's going to be Indeedee, Hatterene, or it's going to be Indeedee and Armarouge. So what I'm deciding to do here is bring in the Garchomp, because the Garchomp is choice banded here. This choice banded Garchomp does incredible damage with whatever move that it chooses to use. It has Dragon Claw, Stone Edge, Poison Jab, Earthquake, all super, super strong moves that can be used against kind of anyone on that team. Magnezone is a great Pokemon to bring beside that because of the air balloon, right? You'd think that the the electric and steel with magnet pull isn't exactly the right Pokemon to bring. However, with that air balloon, it makes it so your Garchomp gets those initial earthquakes off really, really fast. And then Pelipper and FLOATZEL, that's kind of the soul of this team, right? Pelipper, it gets to handle speed control, it gets to swap out the weather, and then your FLOATZEL gets to really take advantage of that rain with Aqua Jet, Liquidation, Wave Crash. It just does amazing amounts of damage. Anyway, let's get started with this game against Ash, bringing out the Hatterene and the Hatterene and the Indeedee. Magnezone's going to float in the air with its air balloon, and Indeedee's Psychic Surge is going to go off. The interesting thing here is that you don't really know what the Indeedee's item is going to be until this very moment right here, where the Psychic Seed will go off and increase its special defense. If it doesn't, then that could mean a lot of other things, right? It might have Focus Sash, it might have Eject Button, it might have, you know, a Life Orb. I don't know, maybe it's an offensive female Indeedee for whatever reason. And in this situation, because of that Psychic Seed going off, Earthquake is going to be an amazing move, right? It's not going to have to worry about Follow Me. It's not going to have to worry about anything that Hatterene does, barring like a Protect. And then the only other thing is what is going to do the most damage to the Indeedee if it connects with the Indeedee because of Follow Me, or to the Hatterene, or whatever Pokemon they have in the back. And in this case, I'm deciding to use Flash Cannon, which might be a little bit of a hazardous guess, in case one of them swaps out into, say, Armarouge or Torkoal. However, they do decide not to do that, right? So Garchomp is going to Terrastalize here because I want it to do as much damage with that Choice Band as possible, and the Indeedee is going to hit the Follow Me. Follow Me, it doesn't matter right now. Garchomp is going to use the Earthquake. It's not going to affect the Magnezone because of the aforementioned air balloon, and it hits the Hatterene and the Indeedee, bringing the Indeedee down because of its lack of Sash, and bringing the Hatterene down to its Focus Sash. Now, clearly what the Hatterene wants to do here is set up a Trick Room so that Armarouge and Torkoal can run the rest of the game unfettered. But it is going to go down to a Flash Cannon here wonderfully. Now, We only have 2 Pokemon left, and again, we can pretty much guess what those are going to be. It's going to be Armarouge and Torkoal. Armarouge pops out with its blue eyes. That's its only shiny factor, and Torkoal is going to pop out, and that's going to be shiny as well. Yes, it is. That's going to be 1 yellow Torkoal. Torkoal's Drought comes out, and at this point, I'm like, you know what? I don't want you to have anything. So I'm going to swap my Terrastalized Garchomp out because, of course, when you do pull out a Terrastalized Pokemon, it stays Terrastalized when you bring it back in, just so I can get rid of that weather. Now, what I could do here is keep the Magnezone in, swap that out for a Pelipper, and use an Earthquake again because Pelipper is not going to get hit by the Earthquake. But regardless, that is game 1. A very, very quick and easy and clean game 1. Let's take this team into game 2. Let's see if we can do even more damage. Come on. Game 2 is against Buzz, and the first thing that I notice about Buzz, and the first thing that you might notice about Buzz, is Glaceon and Abomasnow. And in my head, the first thing that I'm thinking about is Code Red, Code Red. We need to make sure Abomasnow does not set up the Aurora Veil, because that usually means terrible, terrible things for me. There's also a Sableye and a Tinkaton in here, 2 very prominent fake out users, and I do not want any of my Pokemon getting fake outed. Because you know what? You don't want to get hit by a fake out, and then you don't want Aurora Veil to go off that same turn. It's just as bad as getting hit with an Aurora, getting hit with a fake out, and then getting hit with a Trick Room, which is also a possibility because there's an Armarouge. So here I'm thinking, you know what? Let's go and meet a prankster with a prankster. Let's bring out the Klefki as well as the Arcanine, because the Klefki can hit with a Thunder Wave. It could use a Trick Room of its own if they do happen to get a Trick Room up. And Klefki's kind of new to this meta, so people aren't really sure what's going on with that right now. Arcanine is also a very good Pokemon to kind of nerf the opponent, as well as it has Protect, which is really, really important. And then in the back, I'm going to bring Pelipper, of course, because you need to get rid of the snow before Aurora Veil can go off. And then if I'm bringing Pelipper, I always think, you know what, should I bring the Floatzel? Yes, I do bring the Floatzel in this situation as well, because Floatzel never really got a chance to shine in the last one. I want it to get a chance to shine in this one. So we bring it in the back and hope for the best. So now we have the ability to get rid of Trick Room, we have the ability to get rid of Snow, if that's a thing, and we have some Klefki shenanigans that we can do on the side. So we start the game up against Buzz, who brings out the Sableye and Armarouge, which, like I mentioned, that early fake out into Trick Room is a major, major possibility. So I need to be incredibly wary of this going into this game. So what I end up doing is saying, okay, you know what? I can just use a Thunder Wave against the Armarouge. I can't use a Thunder Wave against the Sableye because, you know, you can't use a Prankster move into a Dark type. That's something I need to keep reminding myself. I always remind myself not to do that. So Klefki, I go back and forth for a little bit. I'm like, should I Thunder Wave? Should I Foul Play? Who's going to get fake outed here? What's going to actually be the best use of my time right now? Turns out I am going to use Thunder Wave on the Armarouge. And then on the Arcanine, kind of running out of time here, but thinking about using Snarl on the 2 of them, just so that Armarouge doesn't do that much damage if it does choose to use an Armor Cannon on my Klefki instead. Which it, for all I know, might have wanted to use here, didn't get the chance to, because not only does my Arcanine flinch, but the Armarouge can't move because it's paralyzed. So I get the fun hacks on the very first turn. I decide to go for the the Foul Play on the Armarouge just to do a little bit of extra damage on that, as well as a Snarl. At this point, the Arcanine isn't really doing too much. I'm going to get tricked into a Lagging Tail. Which means that I'm going to go last. However, not last, actually, sorry, that means I'm going to be slower than the Armarouge, but the Armarouge is actually paralyzed here. Klefki's going to use Foul Play, which does a fair amount of damage. I need to actually look up what Lagging Tail does while I do that, because I thought that it did make your Pokemon go last. It causes the Pokemon to strike last in the priority bracket. I was given a Lagging Tail. I guess it doesn't change on the turn that you get it, which is fine. Anyway, so in this turn, the Armor Cannon did hit, and the Klefki took a lot of damage. But the Armarouge did lose one defense stage. So in this move, I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Because it lost one in defense, why don't I just say, forget it with the snarls. Let's start actually doing some damage. Armarouge can't move because it's paralyzed. I feel so bad for this guy. I have really haxed him out of this game, but I hit the extreme speed on him to do that extra damage. Snarl obviously wouldn't have done that much damage. Extreme speed's going to be the winning move right now. So now all they've got is this Armarouge who has very little HP, the Sableye who all they can do is use Fake Out, really. Not Fake Out, Foul Play. So I'm thinking at this point, maybe they're going to switch. Maybe they're going to get the Armarouge out of there and save it for, say, if I want to use a Flare Blitz on it later so they can do a cheeky, swap in and soak that up. I decided to go for an extreme speed again, just in case. I do take it out because they don't choose to remove their Armarouge from the game. And at this point, I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I can just do some foul play damage onto the Sableye. It doesn't do very much, and that's just okay. Foul play does do quite a bit to the Arcanine, but it doesn't take it out, which is an opportunity for me. It is an opportunity for me, and I don't want anybody to think otherwise. The Abomasnow is going to come out here, and it's going to drop the snow warning. And those red flags that I had at the very beginning of the game where, oh no, I can't have any Pokemon out when snow is out. Those red flags are going off right now. So with the Klefki, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe let's go for a Thunder Wave on the Abomasnow to really lock that down. Then we'll swap out the Arcanine. We'll bring the Arcanine back out later, just in case we need to do some quick little swaps, right? Pelipper is going to come in. Arcanine can maybe soak up a Fake Out, something like that. But the main important thing here is that Pelipper's Drizzle is going to replace the snow. Now, this Thunder Wave isn't actually going to connect, unfortunately, because the Abomasnow wants to do a little bit of reconnaissance. It's come out and it's thinking, okay, well, they had a Pelipper in the back. They might want to get rid of my weather. Let's see if they do that. So instead of going for an Aurora Veil and wasting the turn and potentially getting hit, they kept the Abomasnow in, but protected it. And then at this turn, I'm like, okay, well, either they have two choices. They can swap out their Abomasnow and bring out, say, a Glaceon so that they can bring the Abomasnow back in, or they can bring out the Klefki, or they can bring out the Tauros. It doesn't matter. Tauros is really great in this situation for them because they have the weather up. But on the Pelipper side, I see that none of their Pokemon want to be taking a Hurricane right now. So I say, okay, let's use a Hurricane on the Abomasnow. If Abomasnow stays in, then it takes a Hurricane and probably goes down, or at least goes down to Sash or something like that. They do decide to take back the Abomasnow, though, and bring out the Glaceon. Klefki's going to use Thunder Wave on that, which Glaceon does not want to take a Thunder Wave. And Pelipper is going to go for the Hurricane on the Glaceon. I'm going to get Will-O-Wisped, which, is just kind of another thing that Sableye can do. Unfortunately, there's not too much else that Sableye can do right now, just being in that slot. Hurricane's going to do half the damage to Glaceon, and it's going to confuse it. So yes, I got the ultimate luck when it comes to this Glaceon here, hitting the Paralyze, hitting the Confusion. Remember Parafusion? That was a big thing way before. Anyway, so now I have Klefki in the front. I still have Pelipper there, and the only thing I'm thinking is that one of these Pokemon, Glaceon or Sableye, is going to be swapping out into an Abomasnow because they want to be bringing the snow back up, right? If they do that, then the Glaceon still gets a little bit of defense as well for the foul plays, but regardless, I'm going to actually swap back the Pelipper because of this, assuming that they're going to swap one of the Pokemon out and bring out the Arcanine. That's going to intimidate the Glaceon. It's going to intimidate the Sableye. At this point, I don't really know if it's doing physical or special damage with Glaceon, just because I don't really know what Glaceon does. I'm pretty sure that it goes for blizzards and stuff like that, but regardless, the Abomasnow is going to come out. The snow warning is going to hit, which is really, really positive for me. But the Glaceon now actually gets a move off. It gets to use Blizzard, which knocks out my Arcanine, which could be bad for me if it wasn't amazing for me, because now I can just bring in the Pelipper again, remove the snow, and not have to worry about the Abomasnow at all. right? So Klefki's going to recover a little bit with its leftovers, as Klefki does, being a defensive monster like that. And Pelipper is going to come out. Pelipper is going to replace the snow with the rain, which is, again, just so beautiful, poetic justice, whatever you want to call it. And here I'm thinking I have a Glaceon that's paralyzed and confused and a full HP Abomasnow. What do I want to do with that? So I'm going to target the Abomasnow with both of my Pokemon. This is incredibly risky if the Abomasnow chooses to protect, which we've already seen that it has. But I figure, you know what? If this is meant to happen, what's going to happen is my Hurricane will hit Abomasnow. It'll take out the Abomasnow, or it'll take out the Sableye, which decides to come back in. Regardless, I do want to target it with both attacking moves because, in case it has a Sash, that could be a major problem. The Glaceon's confused, and it uses Protect here, so it actually wants to save itself, making the Abomasnow the prime target now that it isn't using Protect itself. Abomasnow does decide to go for Giga Drain here, which salvages a lot of HP. And here I'm worried. I'm like, oh no, is Klefki's Foul Play actually going to take out Abomasnow? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So that was great. So now all I have to worry about really is a Glaceon and a Sableye, both in the rain. So that's pretty good, right? That's what I'm thinking at this point. I still have my Floatzel in the back. Floatzel can do some big old wave crashes to knock out both of these Pokemon. I don't really have to worry about too much, barring like a Will-O-Wisp on my Floatzel. So at this point, I'm like, okay, which one do I attack? Does it really matter? It does matter because this is Sableye's first turn out, meaning that it's going to go for a fake out. So I'm going to actually protect this Pelipper. I noticed that Burn was only doing about 8 damage, and I think I had somewhere around like 22 HP, which brought me down to 14. So I figured that, you know what, I could take another Burn hit. So that just gives me some time to foul play the Sableye because I didn't really feel like I needed to do anything to the Glaceon because it just keeps it just keeps getting hit by paralysis. So poor guy. Klefki's going to heal up a little bit of HP, and Pelipper is going to go the other way, down to 6 HP from the burn. Now, this is the last turn for either Glaceon or Sableye if I choose that to be. So I'm going to go for a attacking move on the Glaceon. I think that was a foul play, and a Hurricane on the Glaceon as well. Because I mean, like, you know what? I've made my choice. I want the Glaceon down. Let's go and just take that down. Pelipper's going to use Hurricane. That's going to take out the Glaceon right there. What I did notice in all of these is that the Sableye chose not to Will-O-Wisp my Klefki at any point, which it totally could do. It totally could have done that and did some residual damage. Like, I don't know. If it's a choice between foul play and status move, personally, I would choose the status move, which might not actually be the right choice, but regardless. Anyway, last is going to be Floatzel. Floatzel's going to come out, and Floatzel's in the rain. I was hoping that I could get at least a hit off with Floatzel, and here I'm sitting like, I'm thinking like, should I be that guy? Am I going to be that guy to terrestrialize and go for the wave crash? Yes, I'm absolutely going to be that guy. But they didn't let me be that guy. They canceled the battle before I actually got a chance. So unfortunate for me that I wasn't able to be that guy, but maybe in the third game, I thought maybe I could be that guy. And you know what? Third game, I was able to be something, quite something. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into game 3 and we're going to see what we can do. Come on, join me. So game 3, I do want to tell you something quite funny because I noticed this about Magnezone at this point, but I wasn't able to actually put it into play in any of these games. Magnezone does have Magnet Pull, which prevents other steel Pokemon from retreating. So there are absolutely cases where you can bring out a Garchomp, bring out a Magnezone, and the steel Pokemon like Goldengo can't go anywhere and just are forced basically to take choice banded Earthquakes, which obviously they do not want to take. Anyway, in this game, we've got big Trick Room presence. You've got the Indeedee and the Oranguru, which usually is going to be your lead, or you've got something like a Tyranitar and a Dragonite. I do decide to go for a Garchomp, Magnezone, Pelipper, and Floatzel again, because I really just want to make that Pelipper Floatzel thing work just one time. I keep winning the game too fast before I can bring the Floatzel out. So hopefully we can do that. In the back, they've also got Sylveon, Torkoal, which usually does come in the back where like it's going to swap out to bring out the sun to counter my rain, or it's going to come out once the Trick Room is out and it's the fastest thing on the field, so that it can hit with big eruptions. So hopefully we can stop some of that with this game. That would be absolutely wonderful. But first we need to stop some Trick Roomage, which is more than likely going to happen. And by me hinting at it so hard, it's almost an inevitability, which there it is. So you've got the Indeedee and you've got Oranguru out. Now in game one, you might have heard me when I said that at this turn, you can see what an Indeedee's got. If it uses its Psychic Seed, if it doesn't. I notice here that the Indeedee does not use its Psychic Seed. So I'm like, okay. If it's not using its Psychic Seed, that means it's either got like a Citrus Berry or a Focus Sash. So I'm kind of hesitant to go for the Tera Earthquakes here, but I'm going to do it anyway, because you know what? It took out the Indeedee in the first time. What's to say it's not going to take out the Indeedee in game 3? So I use the Earthquake on the two of them, and at this point I'm looking at the team and I'm like, okay, what is going to want to take a Flash Cannon? What's going to want to take a Thunderbolt? I decide that Flash Cannon is actually the more worthwhile move here, because no one's switching into a Torkoal, and if they switch into something like a Sylveon, that's still going to do a ton of damage. I target the Oranguru, assuming that the Indeedee is going to go down, and here we're just going to see that Terastallization cutscene for the ground. If this manages to take out the Indeedee, then I have full reign to slap a Flash Cannon right on this Oranguru. Here comes the Follow Me, which the Indeedee has to do if they want to set up the Trick Room and not lose the Oranguru here. I'm going to use Earthquake, doesn't affect Magnezone. Then let's see how much damage this does. So as you can see, it brings the Indeedee down to low, but what's this? It switches out with its eject button. With its eject button of all things. So Indeedee with eject button goes away, which obviously as well means that the Follow Me has gone. So that Follow Me doesn't actually land here. Flash Cannon goes on the Oranguru and they still don't get Trick Room off. Now all I have left is a full health Magnezone and a Garchomp. Garchomp's Terastallized into ground, and I can just continue going for Earthquakes here. I'm looking at the enemy team. I'm like, they still don't want to take Earthquakes. I'm gonna keep my choice band going and go for the Garchomp. But what I do want to do though is remove the Sun, just in case I don't take out the Torkoal, or just in case the Sylveon, I don't know, does something, right? I want to remove any kind of advantage that my opponent has right now. So I flip into Pelipper. Pelipper, being the flying type, isn't going to be hit by the Earthquake at all. Drizzle's going to remove the Sun, bring out the rain. Sylveon's going to protect for some reason. It does mean that it's not going to be hit with a big powerful Earthquake. But what that does do is solidify its spot in the final two. Which, congratulations, you are now beside a red health Indeedee, because I do take out the Torkoal with my choice banded Tera ground Earthquake. So there that goes. And now we've just got Indeedee and Sylveon back on the field, and I feel like you can probably see where this game's going to go. Mostly because of the way that I've been talking about it. But we've got Earthquake going on both of those guys. I've got Hurricane going on that. And yet again, we have a canceled battle where I wasn't able to bring out the Floatzel. I just wanted to use Floatzel. I feel like Floatzel is I can't even thumbnail it with the Floatzel. I probably will. Forgive me. I put the Floatzel in the thumbnail because that's the soul of this team. The fact that Floatzel exists on this team is enough of a threat, right? It makes you want to put in the Sun, which you can then trump with the rain. It makes you want to bring out the things that can take out Floatzel. Anyway, I'm justifying putting a Floatzel in the thumbnail. Let's go talk about this team because I have a lot to say about it. Okay, come join me. All right, so here is the team again by Irv. Please, please, please do go and check out the Irv04 on Twitter. This team is a masterpiece. I love this thing. Cybertron talked about it. VGC Paste talked about it for good reason, because they are all good Pokemon and they do so well. They have so much synergy together. And FLOATZEL is something you don't see too much every day. That's the end of my sentence there. Pelipper, Garchomp, Magnezone, Klefki, FLOATZEL, Arcanine are the Pokemon there. Pelipper is great for speed control, is great for weather control, because you need, at this point, Series 1, where you don't have the super mega powerful legendary Pokemon on your team, you do need a team that kind of can handle all of the situations if you want to consistently win. So you need to deal with speed control, you need to deal with weather control, you need to deal with Trick Room, because it's such a prominent thing in the meta right now. Pelipper deals with two of those things, speed control and rain control. Garchomp is just so strong with Choice Band. That's why you just load it up with all of the attacking moves under the sun. Dragon Claw, Stone Edge, Poison Jab, Earthquake. This thing is doing a ton of damage every time it's used. Magnezone with Magnet Pull and Air Balloon is a combination that a lot of people don't see coming. Turn to your left and ask your friend if they know what Magnet Pull does. And I guarantee you that they might not. It also has Tera Fire, just in case you need to, play into some sun. You Tera Fire, you go for the Tera Blast, it does immense damage, or you just play to the rain, hit them with a Thunder. Thunder is a sure hit when you have the rain up. Flash Cannon, Thunderbolt, also very strong moves. Klefki is a wonderfully cheeky Pokemon that I feel like a lot of people don't really think too hard about. Thunder Wave is great, Trick Room is great, it has access to that, Protect is wonderful, Foul Play is great. It's just a good Pokemon, but I feel like you can replace that here and there with other prankster Pokemon. I have no reason to do that though, because Klefki just performs so well. Arcanine, I'll get to the FLOATZEL in a bit. Arcanine is wonderful, Flare Blitz, Extreme Speed, Protect, and Snarl. Tera Fire, not what I normally see. I normally see that as Tera Normal, but in this case, you don't actually need it. You have your Tera Fire just in case you need to get like even more powerful Flare Blitzes off. You rarely are using it for that like major extreme speed. You're more so using it for like Snarls. That's what I'm mostly using this for in practice and in these games. And then the last Pokemon, I've used this in practice, I swear. This is FLOATZEL. FLOATZEL does a bajillion damage with Aqua Jet, Liquidation, Wave Crash, Ice Fang. You use that Swift Swim to your advantage with the Pelipper. You use that Life Orb to your advantage. You use the Tera Water to your advantage. It's just so good. Anyway, this team is so good. But I will admit that I didn't get the chance to use the FLOATZEL. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stream this team tonight on twitch.tv/Pokesports. So make sure you go and follow that and check that out. I'm also going to be streaming on TikTok because that's what we've been doing. So go and check us out at Pokesports. And I'm gonna try and get some wins with the FLOATZEL because I really want to show off the FLOATZEL. I think it does so much. Anyway, from Mike in the past, who probably said goodbye at this point, and from me in the present, who probably said goodbye at this point, I've been Mike. I play with 2 Pokemon on the field. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.